Hey guys, and welcome to the next episode of Keelloo Talk. And I really wanted to do, as honestly, I think a lot of people are doing this kind of thing. Oh, it's the 2020 wrap up. Look how things have been. Look how awful my life has gotten as a result. Sort of bullshit. Maybe not as dramatic as that, but you kind of get the deal. My opinion on 2020. So, me as somebody you don't know, blah blah blah, who has just put out a few videos. What have I accomplished in 2020 and how has it affected me personally? So for me, 2020 started out as, pretty normal. I was still living in the Midwest, looking for work. Wasn't working out really that well for a long time, as it was out there. And then COVID hit very early. I'm talking in this period of time, like from the beginning of January to like I want to say mid-February was when we were alerted of COVID, and then once March hit, everything was screwed. Like, if you were in school, great, you did online stuff. But if you were like me, who was looking for, a decent employment job, plus because I was planning on moving in June, which I did, it was like, what am I supposed to do? Because we didn't really know at this point what the hell was going to happen. And, things shut down. And that was a miserable time. I don't miss, I want to say, I know it didn't really start until like March-ish, but February through May. I don't miss that time period of this year because I don't feel like anything remotely productive happened during that time. I was frequently helping my mom and dad with my sister's school programs, because our school wasn't really that set up to be in the emergency of something like this. If we had to do some kind of online thing, even if it wasn't an emergency, let's say kids had to have something like this. No, our school wasn't. So it was like, hey, Michael, can you help us record this because we have this project we have to do and upload it and all this kind of thing. Hey, can you help us with this Google Doc thing, which I know sounds really basic, but can you help us edit this in this way that the teacher wants it? And it was like, okay, well, I'm fine with that, but it was like, I really hope things go back to normal. And what do you know? So I feel like we had this period in like, again, you can definitely quote me on this. I'm just guessing, but I moved from where I lived in the Midwest at the end of May to the beginning of June to Pennsylvania at the end of May. So I don't know what changed. So from here on out, I'm not focusing on anything that happened out there and everything that happened to me personally out there in the past 6 months, because it's been that long. So it was a relatively difficult effort for us to move in because for some reason the moving company that we contracted, they were very understaffed. So because of that, not only did they take 2 days, but both days they were very understaffed. So I tried to help, our family, not only me, but my mom and dad, tried to help, because they wanted to get home and we wanted to get all our shit inside. I think both parties recognized that, and that was a very crazy time, Moving is, especially when you're moving into a house, it's a lot scarier than you think it is. I wasn't scared by any means. I've adapted just fine because yes, I do still live with my parents. Blah blah blah. But I help with all that. It's like big deal. You move, you move. Yes, the move itself is stressful, but we're doing pretty well now. But so if I want to move on from that period, from I guess the time that everything was moved in, and of course we had a lot of boxes that had to be, where do we want to put them? Are they mine? Are they my brothers? Are they my sisters? I don't think that's really that important. So what happened next? Well, we had to get actually established in the state. A lot of this is just shit you have to do. There's really no other way around it. It's like, well, you have a driver's license, but you have this state's driver's license. So we had to go to the DMV. So first we went to this place we thought was the DMV because they took pictures. And then I've had my driver's license at this point for, what am I going to do for a job? Yeah, 6 years. I looked for a lot. And so I applied for an Amazon job. No, they sent us which an Amazon driver job, which no, you got to go here. I really did not like. Excuse me. I didn't work for them that long because driving for me is stressful, and I'm not a very good driver. I'm gonna be honest with that. I don't. So want to be that kind of person who's on the road with. And I was amazed because better drivers. Hell, this is the middle of the summer. So I worked there for a while, and if you're an American, and then you know that the DMV is usually just this horrible place that you don't want to set foot in unless you have to. And then I started looking into more jobs that I would consider driver's license. Got my ones that I can think, it may start called the past, kind of normal. Yeah, never mind. I'm gonna skip that part. Lame, bland. For so I have my driver's license. It's gonna do well for me if I do consider staying with them for a long time. And that's kind of the person I am. I'm not the kind of person who's just gonna join a job and say, "Oh, well, I'm only gonna be here a few months, but pay me." So right now I am working for the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board. I'm doing regular work. It's not bad. I like it. It pays decently. I get good hours. I like the people I work with. And sometimes, that's a perk that it's not included, on a normal day, it's not always the most exciting thing in the world, but I have laughs with people I like, and I try to do a good job, and people like me. I think. I don't like saying that, but I'm kind of happy with where I am at the end of 2020, which is what I did want to segue into next. So the point is, I am quite happy with where I am at the end of this year. So let's segue into what 2020 could have been or has been for some people. I know a lot of really bad shit has happened. People have either lost their jobs, lost hours, have had to move from home, have been considered non-essential workers. Do not get me into that rabbit hole. Or any other number of things that have caused them to have had to lose their jobs, which is, I understand the reasoning, but at the same time, people need to make a living, even if you may say, even if it's just college kids, you may say, but people need to make money. I mean, you have your rules: social distance, wear your mask, clean things off when you can, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like a lot of it has been a waste, more or less just waiting for whatever the end of 2020 has to bring, or the beginning of 2021 spring. I am very hopeful. And to emphasize on that point, I don't want to say I'm hopeful as in like, oh, I see these news articles. I am very much hoping that this actually does invoke some reaction because I want to get out of this. My job personally does not get affected by this. I would like my job more if this was not affected by it, but I know there's tons of, as working in the industry, I've seen people whose restaurants have potentially been impacted by this. And people might say, well, think about all the people you saved. Well, think about the tons of people who have been impacted by this. The workers, not only the manager, but the managers who I've met seem to genuinely care. Like, my employees need to get paid. Like, that's, it's shitty. There's no real good answer because I could argue the other point as well, but there's not really any good answer. The majority of my year has been I had to prep to move out here, and then the latter part has been I'm going to find a job, and I'm very well off to me in this latter part. So for me, the way I would describe it is a mildly inconvenient year. And I don't care who hates me about that because that is my personal description of that because it has been inconvenient. But I have found a job that has accepted me and I'm healthy. So I don't really have many complaints, I'm a homebody at heart. So if things are closed down or at minimum capacity, if that's what they have to do, then fine. It doesn't affect me. It does not affect people around me, my family. But yeah, as a whole, like towards the end of 2020, it's been a great year for me. I've met some, like in my new job, I've met great people, I'm getting into a company that, despite what some people may think, I like, enjoy. And I'm very much trying to be confident in 2021. When people think of 2021, it's like, oh, it's not going to be any better than 2020. Well, I see where you're coming from. Excuse me. Because we're already aware of what COVID is, blah, blah, blah. But the vaccine. So I'm hoping that we'll try to at least, move into the public, advance public advance public knowledge on what this vaccine does. And the more people that get the vaccine, the more people that will be confident that, okay, this is going to do something. Now, this is just my opinion. You're free to disagree with this. But, hey, again, I'm trying to look at it in a very positive light. So, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen next year. I'm just kind of projecting, blah, blah, blah. So, wow, this video is very boring and kind of like the news. So, I want to try to insert my positive experiences of 2020. I moved. Like, I like where I live now. I know people might say, why would you want to move to Pennsylvania? Well, the Midwest sucks fucking dick in a number of ways, which I don't need to explain. There's very few experiences out there. The colleges are aids. I like where I live. I have a really good job now, at least in my opinion. I've never felt more confident right now than when I am. I don't care what you say. Like, oh, it's just this. No, fuck you. I feel confident. That's been good for me personally. You know, God. My family's done well. We've moved out here. We finally gotten away from where we didn't like. That's a plus, right? It doesn't just have to be me. So that's something too. Just saying. What else? What else? That's basically it. I'm saying. 2020 for me has honestly been a boring year. I've been aware of everything that's happening around me, how it could affect me, but as for me personally, it's been like, okay, well, we need to protect ourselves when we go to the store, wear a mask, try to stay away from people as much as possible, but other than that, like, life is life. At my job, I wear a mask. We social distance, as they say, but like, I feel like I would have done that even if it wasn't a rule, just because of the person I am. It's like I feel sorry for the many people who have had the misery of being affected by this, but this is Keelloo talk. Wow, that sounded really fucking narcissistic. I'm sorry. But at the end of the day, I wanted to kind of put out like a year end of what I'm doing. And that was hard because I really done nothing. I got a decent job that I don't hate. I like it. I'm doing pretty well. I get along with my coworkers. I'm getting paid okay. I come home and do what I want. And that's great for me. Um, and that was kind of 2020 for me in the latter part, the former part. Yeah, I had a lot of struggles, moving, trying to get along with people, and getting over a lot of things. But, you know, for me, 2020 wasn't the misery that a lot of people see it as. I see that all the places I wanted to go are gone. Well, yes, they are, but that's okay. That's how it is. They keep pushing the boundaries back. Well, I'm sorry, I feel the same way, but sometimes that's how things are. And as ironically as the negative person I am, I'm really hoping that as the next year goes on, we are going to be making improvements. I really hope so. For not only my personal reasons, but for everybody, for society. I don't want things to be like 2020. Do you? I don't think so. My goals for 2021, or at least end 2021, early 2022, maybe, are to get back to Japan. I'd love to. I'd love to go back there. Best experience of my life, and it's probably not going to happen. I'm probably going to have to save for a while. I'm getting older, and that's just how things had to be. But as a whole, as of January 1st, 2021, in this very dull, slightly narcissistic update. And I apologize for that, but it's just kind of the nature of when people talk about themselves. But I also do wish you all, I truly do, to all my friends, to my coworkers, to my family, to anyone I've met. I hope we have a great 2021 or an improvement over this year. And thank you so much for watching my channel this year if you have. So this is going to be my 2020 sign off. So long, guys. And let's try to make 2021 a better year for not only yourself, but for everybody. Later, guys.